Hello friends, welcome to IGNOU online classes. In Unit 1, we learned about the evolution of the cell and historical account of growth of cell biology. In this unit, we will study about the various tools and techniques used to study the cell. Cells, due to their minute size, cannot be observed by naked eye. Lens can magnify minute object up to a limit extent. Therefore, many lenses are combined together to form an instrument known as microscope. Subsequently, many new tools and techniques were invented by cell biologists, about which we will study in details in this unit. We begin the unit with light microscope. Here we will know about the difference between resolving power and magnification and various cytochemical techniques which are used to study the chemical components and structural organization of the cell. Phase contrast microscopy, an important technique for viewing the live cell, is described. We will also learn about electron microscopy, the best known method for study of the ultrastructure of the cell, and an important technique called phase factoring, which is used to study the internal structure of membrane in the cell. Use of radioisotopes, antibodies, and fluorescence microscopy for localization of various cell components are discussed in this unit. We will also learn about cell culture and cinemicrography, the other important techniques used to study live cells. Light microscopy, a study of the structure of organisms, is an essential requirement of biology. However, unaided human eye cannot see objects smaller than 0.1 mm. Therefore, various devices were discovered to increase his ability to observe minute structure. The knowledge of this device is responsible for understanding structure and function of cell. The earliest microscope had only one lens between the object and the eye and were therefore called simple microscope. The modern microscope, on the other hand, have two lenses, the objective and the eyepiece, in a series to view an object. These are known compound microscope. With the help of a compound microscope, one can view objects at very high magnification. However, the important property of light microscope is not its magnifying power, but its resolving power. Let us now explain terms magnifying power and resolving power. The magnifying power of a microscope is its ability to show an enlarged or magnified view of an object to the eye. The resolving power, on the other hand, represents the ability of microscope to show the fine details in the object to the eye. When two objects are very close together, they may appear as one, and when viewed through the microscope, they may not appear as two separate objects. However, these two objects can be seen as two separate objects, or in other words, we can say that the two objects are just resolved if the microscope used is of high resolving power. The linear distance s between the two objects that is just resolved by microscope is given by s is equal to 0.61 lambda by Na, where lambda is equal to wavelength of the light used. Na is equal to numerical aperture of the objective of the microscope. The minimum distance s is called the limit of resolution of the microscope. Smaller the value of s, higher is said to be resolving power. The resolving power of a microscope depends on the numerical apertures of its objective. The greater the magnitude of Na, the smaller is the value of s. That is, finer is the detail that can be observed. To obtain better resolution with microscope, we often use ultraviolet light, which has smaller lambda. The electron beam, which behave like waves under some circumstances, have wavelength 10 to the power 5 times shorter than visible light. This has led to the development of electron microscope, which have extremely high resolving power. Thus, to increase the resolving power of microscope or diminish the distance s between 2 points to be observed by microscope, we often use light which has smaller lambda and the objective which aperture is large. Using light microscope, we can study cell by various methods. We will study about 3 such methods in the following subsections: cytochemistry, fluorescence microscopy, and phase contrast microscopy. Cytochemistry. It is well known that certain stains and dyes specifically combine with certain chemical components of the cell. Cytochemical techniques take advantage of this fact and help in localization and identification of various constituents like protein, nucleic acid, lipids, etc. within a cell. For this particular molecule is first immobilized, then identified by its reaction with stain. Some molecules are also identified by their physical properties like absorption of radiation at a particular wavelength. For example, the nucleic acid absorbs ultraviolet rays at 260 nm, whereas protein absorbs 280 nm. The amount of chemical components present in cell can be quantified by provided the reaction between molecule present and the stain is strictly on 1:1 basis, as in the case of Fulgen reaction for DNA. A large number of dyes are used to stain different chemical components of the cell. However, the chemical basis of the specificity of many dyes is not known, so only qualitative information can be obtained. The following table lists some of the common tests for detection of proteins, lipids, nucleic acid, and polysaccharides. Fluorescence microscopy. Certain compounds, when exposed to shorter wavelength radiation, example ultraviolet and X-rays, absorb and emit energy as light of a longer wavelength. This process of emitting light from a compound is known as fluorescence and is now commonly used in microscopy. Compounds which naturally emit lights exist in most living tissues. For example, the mitochondria of liver and kidney, collagen, chlorophyll give strong fluorescence. Such type of natural fluorescence is called autofluorescence. Sometimes fluorescent dyes like rhodamine, quinacrine, etc. called fluorochromes are used to stain cell components to produce secondary fluorescence. Such important dyes are also used in the study of chromosome behavior. The fluorescent microscope is essentially an ordinary optical instrument. It has been modified by the incorporation of special filters. These filters allow only the required wavelength of light to pass and causes fluorescence in the specimen. The most significant application of fluorescent microscopy is in the field of immunofluorescent antibodies labeling technique. Phase contrast microscopy. Phase contrast microscope has resolving powers similar to ordinary light microscope. However, it enables us to observe the cellular organelles in living cell. The working of this microscope is based on the principle of phase contrast. To understand phase contrast microscopy, we should know that whenever two light waves interfere with each other, the resultant light waves may have greater or lesser amplitude depending on the phase of the light waves. It is known fact that light waves passing through a transparent object suffer a change in phase. The living cells has heterogeneous in their cellular components having different thickness. Due to this difference, each component has different refractive index. Hence, when a light wave passes through the cell, a change in phase produced due to difference of thickness and refractive index of cell components. The phase contrast microscope exaggerates the small difference between phases and enables one to distinguish the adjacent structure. In the next video, we will discuss about electron microscopy.